Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the East Coast and Central America, you are about to witness one of the best-kept secrets in wrestling podcasts today.
Celebrating 5 years of podcasting excellence. 5 years of takes, chaos, passion, and pure wrestling love.
Please welcome your hosts.
The green hat guy everyone knows from the front row!
Holding it down on the East Coast, better known as a Yucha Daddy Primo. And finally, your OG host,
your founder,
the Dirty Bird himself.
DB!
Welcome to your new favorite wrestling podcast, the Hall of Fame and award-winning podcast, The Sit Down Boys! Spreading the good word of wrestling.
Are you ready to be entertained?
That's the difference between you and me. You talk about it, I do it.
Sit down, Marks!
Let me talk to you. Acknowledge me.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. Come on in. Sit down. Episode number 184 of the Sit Down Mars podcast. Right off the top, I want to give a big thank you to the American Outlaw over on YouTube for making that fire intro for us there to start off the show. Go check him out. American Outlaw on YouTube. Happy 316, everybody. It is Stone Cold Steve Austin Day. What? Are you ready, man? We're excited for this because actually today, but tomorrow, St. Patrick's Day, March 17th of 2021 is the Sit Down Mark's birthday. 5 years it's been. March 17th of 2021, Primo and I went live on Twitch for the very first time and to talk wrestling. And, you know, we didn't know how long that maybe we would make it, but, you know, we kept plugging along. You know, and, you know, we went through the ups and downs of podcasting, you know, and we still are. And we're going to talk about those things. But from 2021 to 2026, some things have changed on the pod. But the one thing that hasn't changed is my partner in this whole adventure, the editor, producer of this whole podcast, Primo. He's since, you know, taught me how to do a little bit of the things. But, you know, he's still the OG. So I just want to thank you, sir, for taking this ride with me and continuing to do so. And, you know, it's been 5 years, man. So I want to say congrats to you right off the bat, sir.
Thank you, buddy. Congrats to you. 5 years ago, like you said, you know, we didn't know if we could talk 45 minutes. In the first episode, we talked for 3 hours or whatever it was, 2 hours, 3 hours. Then we went on, you know, we got to where we were filming, you know, back in the, you know, under 100 episodes up to the one, all the way to 150. We got to our episodes were like 3 hours long each time.
Boy.
Then we cut them down. Now we're back to where we have a pretty streamlined product. We have all the additional shows that we do. I got to say, you said it also, happy 316 day.
Yes,
Crack
sir.
one open
There
on
we
the
go.
pod. We couldn't do it any other way. Happy to be here. And I gotta say, the flagship, the main episodes, I love everything we do. I love Cheap Pops. I love DBTT, Territory Treasures. I love Prelude. I love all the stuff we do. Flagship is still where my heart is, like the main, you know, where I love it so much.
Yeah.
Because this is where we started, and this is what really got us to do all the other stuff. I do love all those things as well. It's real nice when we get here and we do what we do best. But
Yeah,
Go
we got
ahead.
all these side projects going now. So when we get to come back to the flagship podcast, it's always fun. It's a little more loose. It's it's where we begin, and that kind of stuff. And let's talk about how the pod did come about. You might have heard this talk about before if you listened to the podcast. I met Primo through a buddy of mine who did some online racing with, and we figured out that we both liked wrestling. I was throwing around the idea of podcasting and having one, and I was already an online broadcaster on Twitch already, so we kind of tested out the waters there before we eventually moved over to Facebook and YouTube and all that stuff. Thanks to Primo for getting us in the technology world. But it's been a long road, man. Frustrating at times, very rewarding at times. But I always believed that doing this podcast was going to lead us back to something else, and like it's tough because nobody tells you about the logistics of podcasting, right? The equipment, the sound, the time to do it, the editing, on top of that, getting the logos made, the social media posts, and let's not forget about money. You know what I mean?
course,
So,
yeah.
you know what I mean? So, small wins, throughout, as you go, along is really awesome. And like I said, Primo's taught me a lot about the digital world. I've since learned, how to produce the podcast on my own. That took way longer than it should have, but Primo's just so good at it. It's like, just let the man, cook. You know what I mean? So, but otherwise, I appreciate everything that you've taught me. So,
Of course.
so Primo, we looked at each other, right, and we're like, a wrestling podcast. There's 10,000 of these. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and how do we go about creating ours? I knew I wanted to do a pod, and I wanted to bring some sort of, core to it, back to my roots, which was, independent wrestling, which is kind of like how we, kind of helped get it, off the ground. But, this podcast has helped me stay in love with wrestling. It's, I love going live each time we go live, the creativity, the content, the things that have spurned off of doing this podcast, but it's all been super fun. But also, having on the podcast, means, one thing. Let's bring on the third member here in the ring, is
The OG fan.
Yeah, the OG fan, right? Yeah. So, the green hat guy, he's him as Dylan. He was a fan of the podcast. We met him through the podcast, going to shows, that kind of stuff, and end up working out, and here he is now. So just want to say thank you, Dylan. Appreciate you being on the podcast, brother. We appreciate your mind for the business, your mind that never forgets anything that happened in wrestling. We appreciate that, because it's like having a dictionary, or it's like having an encyclopedia, like the Schwab, you know what I mean? It's like having you on, this is somebody that we can always fact check, and that kind of stuff too. But, no, all bullshit aside, man, you're a wonderful addition to the pod, man. Appreciate it. Hope you're having fun while you're here.
Yeah, what's up, boys? Happy anniversary. We're vibing and thriving over here. There's a lot going on in wrestling, but hey, that can wait a week. We got to celebrate us. We got to put ourselves over tonight. That's what all that matters tonight. Huge thank you to both of you. I've said it 1,000 times, but yeah, this is awesome. Cannot thank you guys enough for having me on. It's the American dream to go from being a fan of a podcast to being part of the podcast. That's what we all grow up wanting, right? I'm living the dream over here.
Right.
Hell yeah.
So the originals in the podcast was me and Primo, and then there was this other guy, Ziggy, that was on the podcast for a very a brief amount of time. And then we brought another man on the podcast who really helped get this thing off the ground. We loved his wit, we loved his character. Absolutely, we do miss him. Life gets in the way, but welcome back for the first time in a very, very, very long time. If you're a fan of the Old School Podcast, this name, these two letters. No, not DB. AJ, welcome back, brother.
Let's go.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Hi. Holy shit. 5 years. First and foremost, thank you for having me back. I try to keep up with listening to you guys, and I love the stuff that you're doing, the directions that you're taking. It's amazing. I get sad every time that I listen, because I'm like, I want to be there. Why? I want to do that. But it was so awesome. Like DB, I remember when you asked me to join, I was like, yeah, please. And it was so much fun, and I miss you guys so much, and thank you so much for having me back. I want to come back. I miss you guys.
Are you still straight out of your mama's kitchen? Or,
Where else am I going to be out of?
I mean, your own kitchen. You got your own kitchen now.
I do have my own kitchen, but it's not the same because you don't come out of your own kitchen. You come straight out of your mama's kitchen, which is
sure.
There you go.
Good to see you, AJ. Thank you for being a big part of the podcast.
Welcome back.
And how you doing, man? How's life? Everybody's your name gets mentioned every now and again. There are people that remembers you, believe it or not. So update the people, man. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm very good. Very busy. Unfortunately, again, like you said, life kind of happens. So after you asked me this, I wanted to go back and look through all of our old, at the very start, just because I was feeling nostalgic. And oh my God. So 5 years ago, we all look so old. Now we are all aging horribly. Like Dylan, I know you haven't been on as long, but so 5 years ago, we were all youthful and handsome. And now we're all like the guy from the end of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Old ass men. It's amazing.
I didn't have any gray in my beard back then.
Look at that. Look at me. Look at that actually.
Yeah, man. It just comes on now, man. You can't do anything about it.
Old wrestling fans.
I'm getting more like you, AJ. I'm thinning on top now. So
you shut the fuck up. You are not. I don't want to hear it. Shut your mouth with your glorious beard and everything.
So AJ was on the podcast for the bulk of the, kind of the first, few years ago. We always like to laugh about how bad the first 50 pods were. Now that I go back and look at it, I think that might stretch to about 75, maybe. You know what I mean? Because we got higher standards now, right? You know what I'm saying? So, let's talk about the first logo, AJ. Your sister actually made this for us. The first actual logo we ever had. I believe I tried to find the exact email, but I think this was it. Rough draft, everything. Our old painted face. I got Hulk, your Surfer Sting, and Primo was Darby. But man, doesn't this logo? Looking at this logo, seem like 20 years ago?
Yes, it does.
I look how young we look in that.
I know.
Y'all gotta bring back face paint.
I still have glasses in that one. There's no more glasses. And look at those little. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it was great, man.
So happy.
I don't know. I remember coming up with this. I remember I was like, I want one of those head logos. It just has our heads on it, right? And I thought about the face paint, that kind of stuff. I like to get this particular graphic stays on my computer, in little, icon form. So I run over it I see it every now and again, just kind of click on it, just to remember, man, when we had this logo, dude, we were grinding.
Yeah,
grinding.
Podcast every week,
dude. Yes, I was
3 hours a week.
I was an idiot. I was a moron. Tell them about the Primo. What was the pre-pod the run sheet?
Man, we used to have
sheets.
I still have some of them saved on my computer. We have 2 and 3 page notes.
Yeah.
Then that was later on into the show. At the very beginning we had longer notes. The thing is we would add stuff and then drop stuff off and add stuff. We would try new stuff. Anybody in the listening world that puts out stuff is going to try to create and innovate in their own way or make stuff try to make people stick around or show up for that matter. I don't know why Dylan never stayed around, but something we did obviously caught his ear that first time. So it could have been, me, DB, and AJ laughing our ass off about meaty men slapping man meat.
That was a long time ago.
It could have been
running at regular speed. And...
or Ricky Steamboat, you know,
Yes.
or
We know why.
any of our various games that we did. Those were all so fun, but
Right.
the amount of times we added and took stuff off, I mean, we tried a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah, we threw shit at the wall a lot, and I'll admit I tried stuff for a while, and if I, overnight I would hate something, overnight I'd hate it and then be gone, try something else. You know what I mean? And like, and like I like our format now. You know what I mean? But like I still feel like everything always needs tweaking. You know what I mean? Like, there's a constant, tweak there. But yeah, this was awesome, man. Like, dude, like, one of the maybe, this is so dumb, but you put in 5 years, one podcast is done, you start prepping for the next one. You know what I mean? I've since adjusted and figured out how to, jump around a little bit so you're not always, so busy. But man, the first time I got stickers in the mail with this logo on, I could not wait to get those in the mail to Primo like so fast.
Yeah.
And AJ, I'm like, man, these things are so dope, man. Like, we're famous. Like, I love this. Like, it's great.
We're on stickers.
Yeah, we're on stickers.
This
And,
sticker
and-
is
and-
everywhere.
Yeah, and I went on a mission to put these damn things up all over every town, bathroom mirror, fuck, whatever I could, man.
Our
Like, just
faces
get
are
the
out
word
there.
out, man.
They're
Yeah,
still all over the place too.
They
Like
are.
I still see them like downtown and stuff like that. It's kind of funny.
yeah.
I'm always like, hey, look, that's me.
and it hasn't stopped, dude. It hasn't stopped. They're on the mirror at the sanctuary in Peru from
It better
from the other week, man. Like the advertising don't stop. But man, like, I love this logo. I'll always appreciate this logo. Like, this always means the beginning to me when I look at it. You know what I mean? Like,
So this logo is like how I recognized DB and AJ the first time I met you guys.
mhm.
Like, this was I just spit all over my screen. That was gross. This
We're
logo,
excited.
yeah, was the profile picture on like all of the socials,
Mhm.
and you guys
Yeah.
had it on a shirt. So you guys showed up. I think it was an Anarchy show. I
It was
first
an
met you
anarchy-
guys.
Anarchy, yeah.
And I think we sat by each other, even just coincidentally, had no idea who each other were. But I recognized the logo from the profile pictures on your shirt. So
Mhm.
after the show, I was like, "Oh, I'm going to check out that podcast." And fast forward however many years later, now I'm stuck part of the podcast. It's funny how that works out. But yeah,
Yeah.
so if it wasn't for this logo having like Sting and Hawk on it that I love, and Darby, but Sting and Hawk, I was like, "Oh,
Right.
that's interesting. That's different. That's unique. I got to check that out."
And I thought making this, okay, not everybody knows what a mark is. A lot of people
Yeah.
are going to hate that we're using the word marks because
Yeah.
a lot of people hate it. But, I was like one of those like little rebellious time, like, fuck it, I'm going to just jump in and embrace it.
Yeah.
I'd gotten this argument with a guy at AEW in Chicago, and I told him to sit down, you fucking mark. So that was kind of like in my head, that kind of stuff. So, and then, so I was like, well,
Love that story.
how can we relate to being a wrestling podcast? Nothing says wrestling on that. And then that's when the paint kind of hit me. I'm like, okay, people who know wrestling will know the paint. But so next was 2022, the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
All of us in the same place
Oh,
at
yeah.
the same
Yes.
time for
Yeah.
the first time.
That's the first time
Yeah.
I met
Wait,
Dylan.
was that the first time that we were all in the? Yeah,
Well,
I think
it
that was the
it
first and last time we were all together.
No, yeah. I mean, it wasn't the first time us three were together. We all went to AEW.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we went to
Yeah.
AEW first.
First time for the
Dylan.
four of us, though.
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it was the
one time
last
for
time
time.
for the four of us.
I
too.
believe you're right for four of us
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
And it was the worst Rumble, like historically, that's ever been put on. Like, it had the two worst. It was like Brock Lesnar and Ronda Rousey were the two winners.
It was so good of a Rumble. The sign literally caught fire. I don't
It
know what you're
caught
talking
fire.
about. It was so
Yeah, it was-
good.
Roman
It was
Seth
caught
is all I
fire.
take from
That's
that.
first
Yeah.
match with Seth and
Yeah,
Roman.
yeah,
I still
same.
pop for that.
Yeah, Roman
Yeah.
Seth. So
and then some
and
filler,
it-
and then Ronda Rousey.
And Bad Bunny showed up, and the people behind us,
Dude, the
they
people
just were
behind us-
convinced Bad Bunny was winning the Rumble.
oh man, that I love seeing
buddy.
him pop, dude. I love
They
seeing
were
him pop. That
so
was so
excited.
awesome. Oh, it was great.
Like,
man.
it's one of those where you want to turn around and be like, guys, calm down. But they were so excited.
Yeah,
and
you
it was,
can't.
It was
Yeah.
so infectious that you're just like, I love these guys. These
yeah,
guys are
it was,
fantastic.
man. They're like, he's fixing to win the Rumble.
Yeah.
He win the Rumble.
And like,
You know
yeah,
what I'm
it was genuine too. It wasn't like,
Yeah.
oh, here's Bad Bunny, he's gonna win, haha.
Yeah,
Right.
there was no
really thought-
irony
yeah.
in it at
Yeah.
all. They were just genuinely just happy. And I was
They
like,
were.
I love that.
They
That's
were.
amazing.
Yeah. All right. So then somewhere around that time, around 2022, we started working with promotions around the Illinois area. Iron Spirit Pro, Zawa let us come in on a big Christmas show. Big shout out to Zeke. Zawa has always been a big helping part of us in this podcast, because in that very night, AJ and I met Hartenbauer, which turned into us being able to get our foot in the door at Dreamwave. So that's how,
man,
you know what I mean? That's how it all came together.
Friend of the pod, Hartenbauer.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
I love Hartenbauer so much. I miss that guy.
And, you know, now look where we are with Dreamwave. You know, thank you, Hartenbauer. You know, he's always been a big supporter of the podcast. And he had some, he sent a little video in here for us, guys. Here we go. Check it out. Here's Hartenbauer.
Hey guys, it's Hartenbauer here with Big Kitty Cool Nash, who's not having it today. He's been on the podcast once. I believe I've been on it 4 times. Okay, oh God. Anyway, congratulations on 5 years of the Sit Down Marks podcast. I just want to thank you guys for everything that you've done for independent wrestling, especially in our area, not just with the podcast, but helping out at shows, especially Dreamwave. I feel that it's okay for me to speak for everybody when we say how much we appreciate you. So congratulations on 5 years, and cheers to the next 5.
It's going to be hard for me to get through this podcast without crying a little bit. I'm just letting y'all know that. So
that's cool. And by the way, I did forget that his cat was on, but yeah, it totally did make an appearance.
Yeah, it sure did, man. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, Hartenbauer, man, like, you know, in the beginning, like, you know, we met him and knew him. You know, now he's family, man. You know, and it's like, you know, I want everything in the world for that guy. You know what I mean? Like all the success in the world. He's been so nice to us on the podcast. He's never told me no, whether I've asked him anything. You know what I mean? And yeah, he's always been like super, super good to us, man. So I want to say shout out to Hartenbauer, Zawa, Zeke. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I don't even think I even include this in my stats at the end. Still to this day, one of our, if not the most downloaded podcast we've ever had was like episode number 26. And we talked about our top 5 most hated heels or hated wrestlers at the time. And the guest for that podcast was Bucky Collins. Bucky was the guy that we messaged to ask him how we could get in at Zawa, because I think AJ had met Bucky, you know, Zawa. So that's how the relationship started with Zawa. So thank you, Bucky. Thank you, Zawa. Man, y'all been good to us. And that's why I go back every year and sponsor at least one show. So
I love those guys. I miss all those guys too up at Zawa, because that wasn't the first one that we actually did where we set up because it was Iron Spirit was our first one, but Zawa was the one that really kind of like embraced like Iron Spirit. Like I'm so grateful for Iron Spirit too, but like Zawa like embraced us and made us part of the whole production.
Right.
And like we actually got to, I'm sure you're going to talk about that later, but we actually got to be in a show once, and it was so fucking cool.
Yeah, it really was. And, you know, and we were, you know, I ducked a plunger, you know, and got saved by Judd the janitor. And I'm like, holy hell, like I'm just here to do a podcast, and I'm part of a match. So yeah, it was phenomenal. How cool. So
how many times has I ducked a plunger ever been said on a podcast?
Right.
In general. Like,
I say it
what a sentence.
Twice a month. I duck that plunger.
Yeah. Right.
Coming at me.
So next up for the podcast, man, was a really big move for the podcast. We met a guy named Thomas Bryce, and we got affiliated with Sportinarium Radio, which ended up being Sportswire Radio. This is a UK-based online news, music, talk radio website. I think it's sportswireradio.org is the actual website. But, you know, this helped get our podcast like abroad into, you know, people's ears across the pond, so to speak. And, you know, if you've ever heard in the beginning, you know, podcast, you know, we always talk about the Reverend Thomas Bryce, you know, the
Number one.
I still have
You know
never
what I
been
mean?
able to do that. I can't do it. Like, it's,
Yeah, and he's been a big
thing.
supporter of the podcast. He's always played our pod. He's he's helped us. Tom helped introduce us to wrestlers. He helped us get our feet wet. Interviewing wrestlers, and man, Thomas has just been such a big part of our success. Really, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Primo, you might remember that first time they played our podcast on SportsWire Radio.
Yeah, we were out at the Were we at the cabin? No, we were at the cabin for one of the first times, but we weren't there yet. But no, we were like on together on the phone or something.
Yeah, it was super cool. But
it was awesome.
Can't thank Thomas enough for all his support and everything that he's done. He actually sent in a video here for us too. Let's hear from Thomas, the Reverend.
I want to congratulate my friends over at the Sit Down Marks podcast. The guys are about to celebrate their 5-year anniversary, and they're actually on. Well, you see a little ticker here, which is the internet radio station. It's home of SportsWire Radio, which is via the Listen Live button on sportswireradio.org. And I want to congratulate the guys and everything that they've done, Primo and DB and Dylan, for everything that they have done, not just for SportsWire Radio, but for wrestling, the wrestling community. The guys have just been staples of Dreamwave Wrestling, and they've been really just almost a staple of independent wrestling. They've had on some big names, Billy Starks, who we've seen in AEW, and they've really... Yeah, RPD, the natural born fighter, RP Davis, who just defeated Frankie Kazarian yesterday in the UK. He's a wrestling champion there, and the guys are celebrating their 5-year anniversary. So I want to congratulate them and thank you. And I don't want to take too much credit for it, but I was actually the guy that discovered them. I remember 5 years ago we were on a Zoom call when there was a thing during COVID, and I was telling them I had this idea, SportsWire Radio. It's an internet radio station. It's free. You come on the radio, and I'll promote you. I'll plug you, although I haven't done much plugging lately because I actually have a fractured hand. But we're going to resume the radio in the beginning of April once I can click again and type. But these guys have been great. They've got thousands of subscribers now on YouTube. They become staples in the independent wrestling community. So I want to congratulate them.
Oh, yeah, man.
Hey, thanks, Tom. We appreciate that. Love the message. And I got to say, congrats to him, too. He's had some bangers lately.
Yeah, he has. Yeah. So let me wrap this before we move too far past SportsWire Radio. So Big Beef was Gnarls Garden. He was our very first guest that we had on the podcast. We still have sound bites that we use to this day from that very first
Primo.
Super nice guy. We end up making the podcast like a 2-parter because it ended up going so long. But our second guest on the podcast, Primo and I, was put on this guy by Thomas Bryce. His name is RPD, Ryan Paul Davies.
Very nice guy.
Yeah, super nice guy. You heard him say that he just got done wrestling Kazarian the other week, but he was like our second ever interview. And, with the time difference, Primo and I think we got up at like 5 in the morning. Like
early.
Pretty early. Yeah.
You guys did that one without me.
Yeah. but he was a boxer at the time. He basically started when we started, and he's like, he's getting looks from Progress now, and he's just doing really well over there in Blackpool. So as a little treat for Primo, this is for me and you, brother.
This is RPD. Just wanted to wish the Sit Down Marks podcast a massive happy 5-year anniversary. Incredible achievement. I was one of the first guests on your show. I always appreciate it. It's great to see you doing so well, and I hope to see you in another 5 years. Keep it going.
Man, that's so cool.
Ain't
and
that
not
cool?
only that, was he one of our first guests, but he was one of our first repeat guests too. He came back another time, and by that point we felt like like he just said, friend of the pod. I remember that second time he was just chilling on the couch talking to us. He was a little ways into his career at that point. So no, big thanks to RPD. He is a great guy.
Yeah. And if he sets foot over here on the States, he's coming to work for me. Like he's coming. Yeah, he's coming to work for me. I've texted him that before too, man. I was like, you might get over here before I get over there. I was like, but if you get over here, like we're gonna put you to work, man. We'll get some eyeballs on you. But him, Rick Marcus, Ishmael Vaughn, a lot of the guys we got from SportsWire Radio. I could talk about them forever, but only have so much time. So thank you. After that, we started sponsoring some matches and stuff. We did a Scenic City Invitationals match. Iron Spirit, Zawa, Homegrown Wrestling, Dreamwave, a little promotion down near where Dylan CCW Cape Championship Wrestling. We got to go down there and do some sponsorships with them. So thank you to them. Thank you to anybody that's collaborated with us. Squared Circle Radio, Card Subject to Change, the Sports Report, Thomas Bryce. Thank you guys so much. Let's take a second to thank some of our fans that have been longtime listeners. First of all, Dylan, thank you, buddy. I appreciate you being a longtime listener of the podcast.
I
appreciate
that.
No problem.
Do you
No
count
problem.
as that
Yeah.
anymore?
Right,
I
yeah.
don't think you can say Dylan the fan.
Zawa fans, Dreamwave fans, Jim Wilson, one of my best buddies. Yeah, Mark Stash, man, love you. Thank you so much. He always comments on the podcast. People in my hometown, friends, family. This pod is probably more popular, than it should be to my family. So thank you guys for for listening to it. Makes us feel special. Primo, your mom, got some merch from us.
Hell
she's
yeah,
a fan
she did.
too, right?
But Mama Primo's a fan. Brother's a fan.
Right.
My wife, Mrs. Primo, she shares our shit all the time. I feel like these guys, my family, are just as proud of the pod as we are. So it really means a lot to have their support as well.
Shout out to Primo's brother-in-law, Dustin, who was the connection between me and Primo. And he's still a fan of the podcast. Never
Still
met
got
him
a
in
group
person,
chat with
man.
us three.
Yeah. And it's active daily almost, you know what I mean? And, I've never met him in person, but I feel like he's a brother, you know what I mean? So if you're listening to this, man, I appreciate it. Thank you to my families who probably never listen to this, maybe after I'm gone or something. But, thank you for, letting me, do this little passionate side project. It keeps me something to do, right? You know what I mean? It keeps me from telling you guys to go, clean the house and wash clothes and that kind of stuff. But, the flagship podcast really, started it all, and we started doing that one. We still do it at least, twice a month. And then, this thing started breaking off into other shows. But before we get to that, I told Primo, man, it's time to go back to the lab, man. We need a little freshen up on the logo, and man, did he ever. I still love this logo, man, because Kurt Angle has always been a big part of our podcast. AJ can,
wait, where's the trophy?
Tell you that, we got this trophy. There it is.
God fucking damn it.
Yeah, so just kind of whether he did it directly or indirectly, implying Kurt Angle in the logo. We love it. Oh, that was awesome. You couldn't plan that.
No never not make me laugh. Oh, hi AJ, how are you doing?
So
Primo's house.
yeah. Primo come up with this awesome podcast logo. I love it. We still been using it. It's still our main, logo to this day. And
clean,
I really do like it a lot, man.
I don't know what. Honestly, I started from the middle there.
It's a half crab.
And yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it came on out with it. I mean, I'm very simple. I'm a minimalist when it comes to stuff like this. A simple guy. I really like this logo. I've always liked it. And I was actually surprised at the reception y'all gave me. So, I mean, I appreciate y'all liking it too.
I loved it immediately. I was like, yes, needs more Surfer Sting. But other than that, we're in good hands.
Yeah, and then so so Primo, we started talking about it'd been a while since we'd run, just been doing the flagship podcast, and we thought about, other side ventures of content. And Primo come out with this idea of he's like, well, what if I do this little 15, 20-minute pod, where I just, talk about, random stuff. You can listen to them anytime, they're not time stamped, you can listen to them on the way to work, home, gym, anytime, they're playable anytime, right? And then so we come up with this idea, and I was like, oh yeah, man. I was like, I love that, man. It's awesome, and I listened to the first couple, and I'm like, yeah, and I started thinking, man, I'd really like to do something like that too, so he inspired me to come up with, I'm like, well, you know, I'm obviously a fan of the old school. I grew up on WCW. Like, you know, maybe I'll just talk about guys that, you know, maybe don't get talked about a lot, or, you know, maybe do get talked about a lot, but maybe I got a cool story about them. You know, maybe, you know, this is what I thought about them growing up, you know, that kind of stuff. So whether the fuck you listen to it or not, I love talking about it. Right. You know what I mean? So, you know, just kind of like, you know, spawned off. So, you know, I told Primo, you know, this before, but, you know, thank you, man, because like, I love this. Once again, you know, it's something for me to do in my downtime. So, you know, I really do. Man. I really do dig it. So
I was honestly surprised when I first did the Cheap Pops. I know it was an idea for us to have like the in-between weeks, you know, and then I did the first one and the couple ones, and next thing you know, you're getting, you know, you're telling me people are out there asking for it. So I'm like, dang, I didn't know people actually liked the Cheap Pops episodes like that. So I was like,
yeah,
that's pretty cool. And then for you to do a DBTT, or I call it Dibby Titty myself.
Dibby
Titty.
But no, I think honestly, your show is great. You have, I've said it before on Cheap Pops and on here, that the anecdotes that you put on there, your personal touch of the stories. I mean, some people may learn something they never even known about these guys. So I think these little mini episodes we do, and they're perfect, 15, 20 minutes, car ride, you know, if you're in the gym, maybe half of your gym time, you can listen to this. It's no sweat, man. And they, like you said, they're all standalone. Anytime, like you said.
Yeah. And these are good. Like I said, yeah, anytime, you know, and like, you know, when these drop, you know, I go for a walk every morning. You know what I mean? When I see one of these pop up, you know, in the morning, I'm like, hell yeah. You know what I mean? Because, you know, I'm a fan just like you guys are. And, you know, Primo don't really know anything I do. This is kind of like our own little, you know, small little side projects to, you know, to do whatever we want to with. And, you know, we've been trying to get, you know, Dylan to have his own too. So, you know, we'll see. What do you think, Dylan? You want your own show?
Come on,
yeah.
Dylan.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Gotta find a topic that's not
gotta find a topic.
Territory treasures or cheap pops.
That's where we got to last time, was it?
Yeah.
But you know, the podcast has spawned off a lot of things. You know, you've heard, you know, Primo talk about, you know, all like the little segments and formats and things that we've tried along the way. You know, AJ, before we let you go, man, like what do you remember about the podcast? You know, like, you know, what are some of the, you know, little segments and dumb shit that we tried that was terrible, or maybe it was funny to us and nobody else, but, you know, but what do you remember about those days?
So first of all, I was going back and I was trying to think of like just the things that, there's things that I still say on like a daily basis. Like I said it at the beginning of the pod, like the running at regular speed. Nothing has ever made me laugh more in this. It was Primo's. I don't know which Rumble we were talking about, but just your overall enthusiasm. Like he's running at regular speed. It still makes me laugh. I still, whenever I see anyone running in my head, I'm like, oh, he's running at regular speed. And then TV, my favorite line from you was, for no reason whatsoever, I don't know why we were talking about Thomas Jefferson. Like something about Thomas Jefferson. I'm like, oh, didn't he create the national park system? And for no reason, you were just like, maybe you did. Mind your business. I don't know why that made me laugh so hard.
It's the small stuff that gets us, man.
It did. And that we used to drink that awful shit
Rowdy Energy. Rowdy Energy.
Oh
yes.
God, it tasted like.
I don't even see that anymore.
No, it folded.
I get shocking that it's
folded,
not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
And I used to love. Like I would have my little segments, you know, every week about, you know,
of the week.
And one of my favorite things was waiting for what Primo came up with as the intro.
Yeah.
Yep. That was fun.
AJ's blah 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 of the
week.
Like that like little robot guy became like a character in his own right on the show, and it's still to this day, all those things make me laugh so much. And so, you know, it's just like I said earlier, like I miss being on the show. Like I miss you guys so much, and I am so proud of everything that you like everywhere that this has gone and what you guys have done with it. and I'm very, very grateful that I was a part of it. And I'm not going to say like obviously like you guys are streamlined again, but I might just force my way back on. This time I might just be like, "Yep, here I am again. You have to accept it."
Well, like I said, we threw that little idea out, to bring you back randomly, so there's no
and I'm on board.
Schedule.
I'm
you know what I mean? So yeah. So maybe we can bring you back. But man, I just remember laughing so much with you, man. And we knew each other before, so we had small little inside jokes and stuff too. But but had a blast, man. Like in those times, when we were just grinding, and y'all were probably maybe sick of me a little bit because I was just like, man, let's just keep cranking these things out and keep going, You know what I mean? And like if we didn't laugh a lot, we probably would have burned out. If we didn't have fun, we would have burned out.
Man, there were some of those episodes where we couldn't keep it. We'd fall off the rails.
Right.
So
like
far.
in the first like 2 minutes, and then the rest of the show, like, I'm sorry if you ever got annoyed with Primo and I, because we used to do it the most where you
would
get me going or I would get you going, and then just be done for the rest of the episode.
And then you'd hear me say, all right, well, everybody's got the giggles today, That
was like
I remember listening to those. Yeah.
That was the indicator that you were annoyed and you wanted us to rein it back in.
Yeah, I was like, all right, let's acknowledge the giggles and let's get back to it, please, if we can. It's funny.
I got to throw one out here while AJ's still here because I think about it way too often, and that was from last year's WrestleMania recap. Whatever match LA Knight was in, AJ brought it to our attention that Mr. LA Knight's balls may have stepped out of his trunk.
Yes.
And we just went the rest of the podcast going, LA balls. Yeah. And every time he's on screen, I still think about LA balls. Yeah. I can't get over it. I'm just stuck on, yeah.
That's still one of
that way too often.
That's still one of our most watched clips on YouTube, too.
I'm glad that
you're like his balls. They just fell out. They were just like there. They were,
like nobody else caught it, but AJ did.
I don't know. You're welcome for introducing me to LA balls.
It's brought great joy to my life. Thank you.
Yeah, that was great shit, man. But AJ, man, we must bid you adieu now, my friend. We love you. Thank you so much for everything you did for the podcast. I'm gonna just say bye for now because I want to hear your voice on our podcast again in the future. So
you will. That I promise you. You can't get rid of me.
All right, bless you, brother. We love you, and we'll see you soon, man. Thank you for stopping
AJ.
by.
Later, man.
Goodbye.
Say bye to your fans.
Sure. Goodbye, fan. Tori.
Dylan.
Join the pod. I'm not a fan
anymore. We established that. But no, thank you, everyone, for everything. Miss you guys. Love you guys. And I'm so proud of what you've done.
All right.
Thanks,
great to see you, brother. See you soon.
Later, brother.
All right, man. It was good to have AJ back, man. Hell yeah. It felt old again, right?
Old times, man.
Felt like old times. So
classic.
Boys, we've had a bunch of guests on the podcast, man, and some of our guests that, joined us was very nice enough to, send a few extra videos in us to celebrate here. So here's one from kind of early on, Primo, definitely before Dylan's time here. Gage Bright, he was the Zawa Live announcer. He is now play-by-play guy on commentary for Dreamwave. Let's hear from Gage. Love this guy.
Want to send a happy 5-year anniversary to everyone at the Sit Down Marks podcast and say thank you for what you do for Dreamwave and pro wrestling in general. Huge fan of the podcast, have been since its inception, and was lucky enough to be a guest on the pod several years ago. So all the Marks are spreading the great word of pro wrestling. So glad to be around all of them, and congratulations again on 5 years. Hopefully you get many, many more with this pod, and hopefully people keep tuning in and listening. Much love to all the Marks, man.
That's awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Gage.
Yep. Gage, man. He's one of the guys I always love seeing on show day. We talk NASCAR, you know what I mean? And we text a lot too. So, and I was so happy when he decided to come back to wrestling. So, all right, up next, let's hear from the former Dreamwave champion, the Pretty Hate Machine himself. He's been on the podcast a couple of times here. One of my favorite wrestlers on the planet.
He cut some of our best intros.
Take some time and issue a rare congratulations from yours truly. Hi, Connor Hopkins, Pretty Hate Machine. Listen, Sit Down Marks podcast, congratulations on 5 years. I want to commend you not only on having an actually quality wrestling podcast, but also for all that you guys do for the independent wrestling scene around here. I mean, the work that you guys put in to make all of us seem so much better and to make our scene feel so much more important, it can't be understated. So congratulations on 5 years, guys. Here's to another 5 or however many more that you choose to keep doing this. And keep up all the great work.
That's so sick.
Love him.
Connor.
Yeah.
Love Connor.
Like I said, like I was saying before, we have 2 of them now, but he was always one of our best sound bites.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's just so good, man. He's a natural. He has a mind for biz. He's the complete package. Ask me what guy on the indies right now needs a contract. I'm gonna blurt out his name first, but thank you for being on the podcast, and especially now, and have grown to become such good friends with Connor. So. All right, next up, man, another guy that's been on the podcast here for a while. This one's a good comic relief, man. This one, get ready to laugh, man, because this one's good. Our friend, the man with 1,000 nicknames, Old Evil himself, Christian Rose. Let's hear from Christian.
Congratulations to DB and the rest of the crew over at the Shut Up Marks podcast on 5 successful years. Love to be back on your show. Love to have you guys on my show sometime. It's called What Are We Even Doing? You should also check that one out. Congrats, guys. It's not Shut Up Marks? I've been making an idiot out of myself. This is worse than me calling that teacher Crandall. Son of a...
That's great.
Oh, it don't get much better than that, man. Right? Oh,
he just celebrated some big anniversary.
20 years.
20 years, yeah. Shout out Christian, man.
Yeah, and while
Congrats
we're talking, the ink hasn't even dried yet, but I just booked him. He's coming on the podcast. I think beginning of June, we're going to talk 20 years of Christian Rose. How about
Hell
that,
yeah.
man? Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah.
Hell yeah. And finally, one last video from a guy, man, he's really trying to make a name in the independent scene. We've had him on the podcast before. He won the 2025 Rising Star Battle Royal on Dreamwave Prelude. Let's hear from your friendly neighborhood maniac, Matt Hatter.
Sit Down Marks podcast. This is your friendly neighborhood maniac, Matt Hatter, and 5 years of promoting and helping independent wrestling and independent wrestlers like myself. 5 years of spreading the good word of professional wrestling. That's insane. So, how about let's go 50 more years? Because that would be insane.
Yeah, that would be insane.
That would be insane.
Yeah, I'm going to be 105 if we go that long.
I was going to say, that's a while, man.
I appreciate the ambition, though. But
absolutely.
Man, thanks again, Matt. Thanks to everybody for all the videos.
Yeah.
Really do appreciate it. Everybody was, more than happy to send in videos.
Yeah, big thanks to all of those guys. When we started this, I never have any idea that we'd ever have any. I started this with UDB just to, I like talking wrestling in my daily life. Now I was like, I'll talk about it on a microphone. Okay, cool. Let's record it. I talk about it anyway. And then next thing you know, I never thought we would interview wrestlers. Oh, I mean, holy shit. And then next thing you know, we've interviewed countless wrestlers and promoters at this point. And to have all those guys just now send those videos in for our 5-year anniversary, very, very cool. I'm very thankful for that. It just shows you, all the guys we've talked to over the years and how far we've come.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, this is no, I'm not patting myself on the back by any means because I'm just not that kind of guy, man. But when I say we built this thing from the bottom, like all we've done is work. All we've done is beat the street. All we've done is set up rings. We've earned our way into spots just like wrestlers have. You know what I mean? And, I couldn't tell you how many times I worked all day long just to be able to put a banner that says Sit Down Marks up on a wall. You know what I mean? In the beginning, you know what I mean? And it's funny now because, how everything's just evolved and people are calling us saying, hey, you want to come sponsor our show? You want to come to our show? You know what I mean? It's like, it's so awesome. You know what I mean? But we're, we've done so good here, we're kind of exclusive, you know what I mean, to kind of like what we've built here, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, so let's talk about 2025, man. It was our biggest year yet, so proud of what we accomplished. We had 1,000 downloads in one day for the first time. It was like
Wild.
It was like people started finding out about the podcast, 4 years in finally, you know what I mean? And names starting to get out there, maybe it's like, cause it's popping up in people's algorithms and we start getting more YouTube subscribers and that kind of stuff. And, and the creation of sitdownmarks.com has really helped.
Yeah.
That all came about because maybe one of our biggest fans, if not our biggest fan, is Jay Repsol, who is the owner of Dreamwave Wrestling. He has helped us. I feel like he's helped taking our pod skills to another level. With this YouTube series now, we're not just wrestlers talking about wrestling. We're talking about an actual product and a match. You guys are
insane.
Are play-by-play.
That's the thing that blows my mind.
Yeah,
still.
y'all
every
are
time.
Yeah, you guys are a commentary team now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
That doesn't seem real. Like,
No.
yeah, we can say that, and we've done, 7 or 8 episodes, wherever we're at now. Another one coming next week, by the way, cheap plug. But yeah, like Primo and I doing commentary, like
Right.
what? That doesn't make sense. Like,
yeah.
what world is that happening in?
Yeah, and I just want to say thank you to Jay. His
Yeah,
confidence,
absolutely.
faith in
Yes.
us. To use his product and together us, being able to spark off these ideas. We're about to make another huge announcement that's going to affect Prelude for the rest of the year. That's going to be awesome. I love Dreamwave, man. Like I bleed Dreamwave blue. You know what I mean? And I'm, and I look for people, that bleed the same. And everybody that we've had on Prelude so far is like-minded like us, and and Jay's right there. And I want to say too that I love how my world of the podcast and Dreamwave have melded together to put this YouTube series on that I feel like is just constantly improving. And, I really want to take Prelude to the next level, and I'm really looking forward to doing that, small little intricacies, I'm just excited. Like it feels like a brand new baby, and there's, things that we can do with it. And it's a project that, that we can constantly work on, but we ain't got to look at it every day. You know what I mean? And so that always continues to spur, creativity. So to circle back, thanks again to Jay for just providing this opportunity for us. It's been so cool. And man, I can't thank Jay enough, for everything he's done.
Yeah. About Jay, obviously, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity you have, for, seeing us as something that could be included even next to the Dreamwave name.
Mm-hmm.
He was on our pod right around the time Dreamwave came back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then he came back recently, and he's himself has said how much this pod has changed for the as far as how much we've grown. How he could tell how things have kind of stepped up, and that's pretty cool to have a guy like that say that about our podcast.
Yeah. And for him to, be able to want to, work with us, and I'll be honest, we are, for lack of a better term, we are basically a media outlet for Dreamwave now. You know what I mean? We share all their stuff. We work with them. We showcase their up and coming talent on a YouTube series. So, so that's what we are. And if we didn't have 100% confidence from Jay, that wouldn't happen. But, to me, it still blows my mind that we are affiliated with such a high level product. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the thing, DB, because it's a company, even before we started doing Prelude, a company that I already had all the respect in the world for, a company I absolutely loved following and watching and keeping up with and making the drives and all of that stuff. Like, I still consider myself a nobody. I'm just a wrestling fan. So just for them, like, to give us that faith in us, give us that opportunity, just to make our own show, our own YouTube show out of their product is still just baffling to me. Like,
yeah,
either he's crazy or we're crazy, one of the two. I don't know which one, but like, yeah, could not, we had Jay on a week ago and said thank you then, but just to reiterate all of that, like, Jay, thank you. It's so cool. Thank you for the opportunity. Cannot say enough good things about it. Still just mind-boggling.
Yep. All right, before we start closing this thing out, man, I'm going to close it out with some stats from the podcast from the first 5 years. There's one last thank you I think we need to throw out there, man, before we go home. And, she's been a friend of the podcast from the very beginning. She's turned, into a huge asset for us, mostly as a friend, but mostly too, I can always count her to critique us in the correct amount of way. And I'll always need that. I need somebody to be honest. If something sucks, tell me it fucking sucks. Like, I want to know, you know what I mean? Yeah. And she's always been honest with us. Tori from Top Rope Baking, has morphed into, one of our, best friends. She's always supported the podcast, texts us about things that happen on it, and all that kind of stuff. And she's made us cookies, that say Sit Down Marks stuff on them. So thank you so much, girl. We love you. Appreciate all the support. Thanks for telling me when things suck. Continue to do so. Tell me every now and again when it's good. You know what I mean? So, or that it's good. You know what I mean? So, if AJ was still here, he can attest. She's helped us from the beginning. She's been a great friend, and I really look forward to times that I do get to see her.
Yeah, she is literally the best. Makes amazing cookies, but that's, beside the point. Big, just like you said, he'd be one of our best friends in general at this point. Huge supporter of the pod. I love me and Tori, our breakfast at IHOP, when we get to do that, which isn't often enough, but that's a whole different point. Shout out Tori.
Hell yeah. All right. It's time to go home, Primo, but I'm going to wow you some guys with some stats here from 5 years of podcasting here before we go home, man. So let's put some of this stuff together. And, there's going to be some things you remember, some things we've forgotten about. So let's kick it off. Here we go. So 184 flagship podcasts after today,
Right.
184 flagships. Amazing, dude.
That is a lot.
56 guests we've had on this podcast.
Wow.
56 wrestlers or people affiliated with wrestling have come on our podcast and talked about anything wrestling in 5 years.
That's great.
Now. Yeah. Primo, do you remember we've had one lost episode that never made the light of day? And it wasn't because the pod was made. It was because, so when I make graphics, I usually make them 5 at a time. And something happened with number 108, and we ended up having to scrap it. And I didn't want to go back and change all the other graphics that I already had made already. So 108 became the lost episode. If you go back and look through the register, 108 is not there.
108, yeah. Yep.
Oh man, so the one lost episode. So I guess we did pretty good to only be able to skip one.
That's not bad.
So
yeah,
that's not bad.
That probably would have been the greatest episode of all time.
You're right.
Obviously.
Yeah. 7 cheap pops with Primo.
Yep.
9 DB's Territory Treasures. 5 years of podcasting. 8 episodes of Dreamwave Prelude. Next one drops March 22nd.
Crazy.
Almost 20,000 audio downloads across all platforms. Wow. Apple, Spotify, you name it. All those platforms. 1 website, sitdownmarks.com.
That's right.
1,548 YouTube subscribers on our.
Hell yeah.
We have been watched or downloaded in 109 countries across the world.
Gosh, dang.
That's amazing.
We have been listened to in 1,431 cities across the world.
Whew.
We are 3 guys behind microphones.
Yes, indeed.
208 total podcasts divided by 5 years is close to a 42 pod average per year.
Man.
We have been hustling, my friends.
That's right.
what it
That's
looks like.
grinding is what that is. Hell yeah. Congrats, DB.
Congrats to you, brother.
Congrats, Dylan.
Dylan, when did you
Congrats,
come on,
AJ.
man? How long? Yeah, congrats, AJ,
you know what?
too, brother.
You
How
know
long
what?
you been
You
with
can-
us, man?
Just fill time for like 5 seconds. I got this down somewhere.
Okay, all right. So I was just trying to think, what was the circle amount of like how long Dylan's been with us?
Yeah.
I don't remember, when
A little over a year, like a year and a half, maybe.
Yeah, probably. at
Okay,
least
it
that,
was
so-
episode 140.
Oh.
The first official, because I did, the guest spot.
Sure.
I don't remember when that was. Sometime well
Yep.
before that.
Yep.
But December 5th of 24. So yeah, a little over.
Okay, a year and a few months.
Close to a
Yeah.
year and a half. Yeah.
Yeah.
Close to that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, this is going to do it for you, man. So we appreciate your contributions, Dylan. Take care, buddy, and we'll see you next time around the way of the show or something. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Nah, man.
Been a good
Just-
run.
Down,
Yeah.
all down the
this-
dusty trail. Happy
Right.
316.
Yeah, 44 episodes is a good stopping point.
This is my stunner on the way out. Like, hey, congrats! You got us here. Kick in the gut. Here you go.
Yeah.
But looking forward to it, boys. It's going to be a good 2026 for us here at the podcast, man. Looking forward to it. I'm excited to get to this work with you guys on Prelude, man. So thank you guys so much for taking this ride with us, man, and keeping interest. And hope you guys are still having a blast, because I am.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said before, I still look forward to the flagship episodes. I mean, obviously, I look forward to everything else too, but these episodes are just still so fun to me, and that's what got us here. So I love that we still do these main episodes the way we always have. I mean, obviously, as we mentioned before, segments have come and gone. Guests have come and gone. It's always been great. The laughs, the time we've had together, where this pod has gotten with you guys, DB, being so involved over there. I'm not in Illinois. Obviously, I'm the co-host on the East Coast.
Yeah.
So I mean, you guys tell me about all the tales from the Indies, like from afar, and it's to hear what all you guys have been able to do has been pretty damn cool.
Yeah, man. It's all because this podcast is helping us get our foot in the door. So.
Yeah, again, I know we're on the way out. Let me just say thank you to both of you again, bringing me on full time, not just in a guest role. It's still so cool. I'm not by any means going to say I'm good at this stuff yet, but like I'm so much more comfortable now than I was a year ago at this time. Like I don't feel like I'm like trying to tiptoe around you guys to figure out when I can butt in. I'm figuring out a little better the technology part of it.
Sure.
Knock on wood, I'm not just dropping for bits to the pod anymore. Again, knock on wood, heavy knock on wood.
Yeah.
Shout out Nate and John in the chat.
Absolutely.
Two of my guys from St. Louis and all of our fans. But
Yeah.
those are two guys I talk to all the time. Appreciate you guys checking us out. 5 years of the pod's pretty incredible. Like you said, just over a year for me, but by golly, talking to you guys every day makes it feel like it's been 5 years.
Yeah.
We're just getting started. We might be 5 years in, but we're just turning things up. Got a lot of cool stuff planned for this year that we'll talk about when the time is right, but we're still having fun. There's still cool stuff coming along.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, once again, I want to say, if you've joined us on YouTube, if you've watched us on Facebook, downloaded a podcast on Apple, Spotify, how many times have you heard me say all those podcast platforms out there? Any of those, man, thank you so much. If it was once, or if it was, or if you're a subscriber, thank you guys so much, man. If you've ever, picked up a sticker at a show, just know that fucking makes me so happy when you do, because I feel like that sticker's going to go up somewhere. it might get thrown in a drawer, forever, but at least I feel like I got a little bit of advertisement out there. So thank you guys.
When I see people coming to Dreamwave shows wearing a sit down Mark shirt,
right?
That still is the cool. I know I've said like 50 different things is the coolest thing ever today, but that might be the coolest thing ever. When I see somebody choosing to put our name on their body and wear it to a show, it's mind blowing.
Yeah. It's the best. Honestly, that's how Dylan recognized me at the Royal Rumble.
Literally, yeah.
Yep.
Saw a guy in a hotel lobby wearing a sit-down Mark shirt. Like,
By the way,
be Primo.
Yeah, if you're listening to this podcast, you've been asking me about those Dreamwave Prelude shirts and hats. They are on the way. I'm gonna have a ton of them. So tons of merch coming up here real soon for Dreamwave Prelude. So, all right, everybody, we're gonna be back next week talking who are the best heels in wrestling right now, who's doing the best job at pissing people off, making people mad, and making you want to pay to see them get their butts kicked, the old school way, you know what I mean? So, we'll be back next week with episode number 185 for Primo, for Dylan, for AJ. I am the Dirty Bird, your host. Thank you guys so much for 5 years of this awesome podcast. Appreciate it. Anytime you've ever listened, downloaded anything, thank you guys so much. And as always, keep spreading the good word of wrestling. We'll see you guys next time. What?